Good evening, it is 2 minutes past 8 on this Thursday evening, and now it's time to meet our Woman of the Week. And this week it's award-winning singer, songwriter, producer, piano player and guitar player, Lydia Biel. Now, Lydia has released 4 albums, and her latest album, Black and White Volume 1, is a solo piano and vocal version of some of her best hits, along with a couple of new ones as well. In her career so far, Lydia has opened for Bob Dylan, and she's got to number 2 in the jazz charts in France with that album, Black and White Volume 1. Now, I've recently discovered Lydia's music, and it's like a warm, jazzy hug. And I'm really new, actually, to jazz music as a whole. And I was really interested in finding out how Lydia would describe the genre of jazz.
Jazz is about freedom in the music, and I do like a bit of that. I do like to be free in the music. You know, that's one of the things that I've learnt from the great jazz pioneers that we've been blessed with, is just always to feel free to reinvent, feel free to be in the moment, and whatever song I'm singing, I try to bring that philosophy with me and do that for whether it's my songs or whether it's other songs that I'm interpreting or whatever, you know. So that for me is jazz, is the freedom.
Can you talk to me about growing up then? So where did you grow up? How much was music playing in your life growing up? How much of an interest did you have in music at that point in your life, kind of in those early years?
Sure. Well, I was always really interested in music. I used to have like song crushes that, you know, like, because in those days you'd just get the charts on the radio and you'd get the top 40 was a big deal, you know, and you know, I'd be glued to the radio on Sundays to hear what was in the top 40, and so I'd, you know, I'd get really into songs and get really like, wow, that's great, you know, and then, but in my, you know, my own way, I was sort of dabbling on the piano. I started lessons when I was young. I was very lucky. My mum just randomly had the idea. She didn't play piano or anything, but she just thought, well, it might be nice, and if you want, do you want piano lessons? I was like, okay, you know. So I had piano lessons. I mean, you know, I was really, really lucky, and I did really like it. So that was good. But then no one else in the family was musical, and no one else really wanted to hear me messing around, I have to say. So I did, you know, I stuck to kind of quite a classical piano sort of thing for probably a bit longer than I would have done. But it wasn't really sort of, I was kind of like the only one that was into it.
And can you describe the time for me when you wrote your first song? So where were you? What mood were you in? What was the song about? Can you remember how it went?
I don't know. God, I don't know. No, I mean, I didn't really write songs until like quite late, you know. I wasn't like one of those kids that's in their bedrooms writing songs. I had a keyboard that I was learning piano on for a while, and that was in my bedroom, and I would be dabbling around making up things while it was in my room. I was allowed because you could turn the volume down. But then we got piano in the lounge, and I was like, I felt really inhibited then, and I couldn't really play anymore. So I didn't really start writing songs until much later, and I started writing these kind of like sort of poems, not really even poems. I mean, that's a bit too highfalutin to call them poems. They were kind of like rants that I sort of rhymed. and then sort of later on I got around to relearning the piano in a different way, like, you know, what do I actually want to hear, what chord do I like to hear after this chord, or what even is a chord, you know. So that kind of relearnt piano to listen to things in that way, and then those two things kind of gradually merged together. So I can't really say this was my first song and it was about, but there is a song, the first song I remember writing, yeah, I mean, it pretty much falls into that category of being a rant set to music. It was called about Enough is Enough or something like that. That just gives you the idea. It was a rant, really, isn't it?
Which artist are you loving now? Which artist do you feel like you've got a connection to, or you play a lot, and you listen to a lot?
Oh, well, right now, I'm listening. My friend Miles, who's just released a track under the name Wooloo, and his track is called South, and it features Lex Amor, and everybody must listen to that because it is absolutely banging. It's essential listening for these times.
So the favourite woman in music that you've chosen the song Can't Be Sure by the Sundays, and this features a woman who you really admire.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you asked me that question and it's so hard to narrow it down. And, there've been so many, I could have picked any number of people. I could have picked, I nearly picked Sade, I nearly picked Billie Holiday, I nearly picked Nona Cherry, I nearly picked Esther Phillips, I nearly picked all these people. But the thing is, Harriet Wheeler I picked because Harriet Wheeler isn't really so known, and I just thought she really should be. And the music that she made with her band, The Sundays, really inspired me a lot. And I just love the energy of it. The grooves are very uplifting. The stories that she's telling are quite, they're about quite ordinary things, quite suburban almost, and her voice is just beautiful. So you've got this sort of energetic, all rock kind of pop thing going on behind her, and all the band are amazing. These grooves are fantastic. And then you've got her on top just sounding like she's from another planet. It's just as amazing. So everybody, if you haven't heard The Sundays, that particular album that I would recommend is Reading, Writing and Arithmetic.
That was Can't Be Sure by The Sundays, featuring the vocals of Harriet Wheeler, Julia Biel's favourite woman in music. And Julia Biel is this week's Woman of the Week. As I said earlier, Julia Biel's latest album, Black and White Volume 1, is piano-based and it's absolutely beautiful. If you're a fan of Amy Winehouse or Celeste or Nina Simone or Joni Mitchell, I think you will love her music. Here is Julia and I talking about how this album came about.
Now, I was going around doing shows, and then in the shows that I've been doing, I'd always have like one or two songs that I just performed on my own, back when that was a thing and we did perform and stuff. But I had one or two songs that I do in the show on my own at the piano, and then people would ask me afterwards, at the merch desk, like, so have you recorded solo voice and piano, because we really enjoyed that one. And we're like, and then this happened quite a bit. And so and obviously when I'm on my own at home and I'm in here, this is my studio, I'm playing the piano a lot and warming up with my songs and writing at the piano and stuff. So I've written a couple of other songs that I knew I only wanted to record in a solo way, and they appear on the album. They're Broken Little Pieces and Three Little Words, and I knew I only wanted to record those in solo format anyway. So I thought might be quite fun to just see how some of the others felt, and it just creates a completely different atmosphere doing it on your own. I love the resonance that a piano brings. It's got so much body and so much life to the sound, even before you've done anything else. Just a single note just evokes quite a lot of things. So I just thought it'd be nice to give some airtime to that, and just give it a moment just to be heard.
But has the reaction from the listeners been all worthwhile?
Oh yeah, totally. No, I've had some really lovely reactions to Black and White Volume. It's Volume 1, by the way, Lydia, because there is going to be more, because it's a format that I'm, like I say, I'm playing piano all the time, and it doesn't just refer to the piano, I should say. The Black and White title, it is supposed to be referencing the black and white keys of the piano, but then also I wanted to talk about these words that are used to describe people, these words that are, even more since I brought that album out, because that album came out February 2020, and then of course a few months later we had all the Black Lives Matter protests and everything. But I was already thinking a lot and becoming much more aware of these words and how they're being used towards me, and then where do I fit in the context of this binary situation. And it's like, well, I really feel like I'm right in the middle, and I don't know what this binary thing is. I don't know why we even are dealing with this, why are we dealing with these two words like this. So I kind of, with black and white, I really wanted to I should have put the "and" probably in really big letterings, but I didn't. But that's kind of what I wanted to sort of say. It's like we're all one, guys. Like, we're all one.
So we're going to play the first track of the album, Broken Little Pieces. So can you take me back to the time when you were writing this song? What were you writing about, and what kind of feeling are you trying to achieve with this song?
Oh, Lydia, wow. That song, Broken Little Pieces, is very dear to my heart. It's written about a true story from the perspective of a little girl who's like looking up at me with questioning eyes, and I can't give her the answers that she wants because she's not old enough to understand all of the things that we grow to understand when we become adults, or we hope we're going to evolve into, so it was just about how I couldn't tell her that sometimes, we're all, I wanted to tell her we're all a bit broken. This is the thing, we're all a bit broken, and sometimes it's difficult for broken people to rub along together.
Such a beautiful voice. That's Broken Little Pieces, the opening track to Julia Biel's latest album, Black and White Volume 1. And Julia Biel is my Woman of the Week this week. As we know, being a creative in lockdown is pretty tough because of the whole not knowing when live music will happen again, plus the uncertainty of whether gig venues will even survive this awful time. And Julia explained to me that Brexit is also something that worries her when it comes to touring around Europe again. But she's come up with a great idea to satisfy her love for performing in the meantime. Hang Time at Home is a live streamed gig every Wednesday. I watched last night's gig. It was at 8:30 p.m. and it was so good. She was playing the piano and then a really cool guitar, which I just really want, I'm not gonna lie. And I snuggled up with a blanket and a cup of tea, and I watched her perform and do what she does best. And Julia explains here how this idea came about.
Working as a performing artist, it has meant that, the things that I was hoping to do and work that I was hoping to be able to carry out this year has not happened, and we don't know how long that's going to go on for where the performing arts are concerned. And now, of course, we have Brexit, which is another added complication for people in my industry. So definitely a lot of problems to navigate through.
You've got the double-edged sword, if that's the right expression to use, with not being able to perform live, but then also not knowing whether you're going to be able to book anything when you can book things. And I think a few musicians have spoken out about this.
Oh, it's been a lot. There's been petitions, there have been committee meetings in Parliament, there have been, as far as it's possible to do, the drummers being beaten to say, guys, we've got a problem here, need to sort it out. One of the things that I have been doing that's been really keeping me going as a musician and as a performer who has been, most of what I've been doing the last 10 or so years is sort of travelling to perform. When lockdown happened and it was impossible for people to connect in the ordinary ways that they normally would have done, I just, there were lots of reasons that just propelled me. I just thought, well, I'm supposed to be on stage doing a gig with my full band on this day at this time, in the week that the first lockdown happened, and people are just like, everyone's feeling like they're going to be shut down and not know when they can speak to each other and do things normally for goodness knows how long. So I felt like I should just do the gig somehow, and so I did the gig on my phone on my own in here, and it was really, really lovely. And so I ended up doing that weekly, and I called it Hang Time at Home, and I've been doing it weekly ever since March the 23rd of 2020.
Do you feel proud that you've been able to keep it up for this long? Because not many artists can do that.
Oh, that's so sweet. I don't know whether, I mean, there's some people who think it's madness, you know, but I take the view that it's not, I'm not trying to pretend that this is a live gig. It's not a real live gig. It's an alternative live music experience. And I think the people that have been coming every week who are like getting into this and getting something from it, they, from what they tell me, feel that it brings them something they can't get at a real life gig. It's something else, it's something separate. So we kind of sort of started this kind of club, if you like, and it can continue for as long as people want it to continue. I'm very happy to do it. I play a variety of songs. I think that probably helps. If I played the same songs all the time, that would get pretty dull. But I sort of play a mixture of things, and so that's probably how come it continues. But also, new people have been coming, even though you think, oh, well, new people have been joining us. And if anyone else is out there that feels like they'd like to experience some songs, me sing them some songs, and just get a bit of warmth into their own living rooms or wherever it is they want to listen. You can be anywhere. That's the beauty of it. You can be in the woods listening on headphones, or you can be in the bath. You can be imagine a gig where you're in the bath. I mean, where else are you going to get that?
So what do you think 2021 is going to bring for you?
Well, that's a question, isn't it? I mean, what I'm doing at the moment, besides my weekly show, which by the way happens on Wednesdays, everybody, Hang Time at Home, check it out. But besides that, I'm writing, I'm producing new things, I'm conceiving new projects, I'm doing drawing, which I love to do as well. So I'm just sort of doing things I can do and keep body and soul together somehow, and then wait until things evolve. I'm also just thinking of what I can bring into my show as well. Maybe I'm thinking I might interview some people myself, or I might so I'm thinking about how to develop that, because it does seem to have taken on a life of its own. So that's also what is occupying me at the moment.
Just to finish us off, can you talk to me about The Wilderness, which is the last song we're going to play?
Well, The Wilderness is for those moments that I'm sure we've all had of just like, you can't sleep, and you wonder how you're going to get through a particular dark patch that you might be going through. So you think, well, where is the light? I don't see the light at the moment, but I got to hope it is there. So it is about that, yeah.
I'm very excited to play it. So can you, in true radio style, introduce The Wilderness for Gorgeous FM?
Sure, Lydia. Lydia's about to play The Wilderness by me, Julia Biel. And I won't look back.
That's The Wilderness by Julia Biel. What a great tune, and what a voice. And that is taken off her album Black and White Volume 1. You can listen to the album on all streaming platforms now, or you can buy a physical copy from Julia Biel's online store. Just go to juliabiel.com, and Biel is spelt Biel. Head to our Twitter as well, at We Are Gorgeous FM, where you can find a link to where you can get tickets to Julia's Hang Time at Home live streamed gigs. And I would highly recommend. She's just incredible. A big thank you to her time as well, and thank you to my pal Dan, who's helped set that all up as well. And just, I can't wait to see what's to come from her in 2021. Now...